Audible Inc. presents The Amish Way, Patient Faith in a Perilous World. Written by Donald B. Kraybill, Stephen M. Nolt, and David L. Weaver-Zercher. Narrated by Steve Coulter. Preface. On October 2, 2006, the unthinkable took place in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. On a crystal-clear Monday morning, a 32-year-old milk truck driver armed with guns and ammunition entered a one-room Amish school. Embittered by the death of his infant daughter 9 years earlier, he was determined to get even with God in a most gruesome way. After sending the boys out of the school, the gunman tied up the remaining children, 10 girls ages 6 through 13, and opened fire in execution style. Moments later, 5 girls lay dying. The rest had been seriously wounded, and the intruder had killed himself. One Amish leader, searching for words to describe the horror to his non-Amish neighbors, said simply, "This was our 9/11." Although millions around the world were stunned that such evil could transpire in an Amish school, many were even more surprised when the Amish community, within hours, extended grace and forgiveness to the killer and his family. How could anyone do what the Amish did, and do it as quickly as they did? This was the question we addressed in Amish Grace, How Forgiveness Transcended Tragedy. In writing that book, we interviewed dozens of Amish people and read scores of Amish publications, and we soon discovered that forgiveness is embedded more deeply in Amish life than we ever suspected. That realization inspired us to listen more closely for the religious heartbeat that sustains their entire way of life. This pulse, which often goes unnoticed, is more fundamental to the Amish way than the buggies and bonnets that receive so much attention. Strong but subtle, quiet yet persistent, this heartbeat is Amish spirituality. One braid, 3 strands. Defining spirituality is no easy task, but it involves at least 3 aspects: religious beliefs, practices, and affections. By religious beliefs, we mean how people understand and make sense of their world. Is the world inhabited by a supernatural power? If so, is this power a wise old man in the sky or a mysterious force in nature? Do angels wing their way through space to protect us, or does help arrive in more ordinary ways? Religious beliefs are sometimes expressed in logical, doctrinal statements, though many people find stories and images more helpful in articulating what they believe. Whatever form they take, creeds or parables, statements or stories, religious beliefs encompass what believers hold to be true. These beliefs do not merely exist in people's minds, however. They take concrete shape through religious practices, attending services, praying, singing, and helping others. These acts are more visible than beliefs, but are tied to them in profound ways. In fact, religious practices both flow from and create religious beliefs. Consider the non-spiritual example of teeth brushing. Parents make their children brush their teeth because they have strong views about oral hygiene and because they want their children to embrace those views. And although it may take many years, children who regularly brush their teeth will usually come to own their parents' beliefs on hygiene. Similarly, spiritual practices, both private and public ones, nurture a particular religious vision. This vision generates religious affections, desires of the heart. All human beings have desires or impulses that drive them to act in certain ways. Most religions view some of these personal desires as misplaced, or at least out of balance. One of the chief aims of religion is to redirect people's affections, to help them desire the right things. In many religious traditions, including the Amish Way, the primary goal is to nurture religious affections for God and the things that please God. Doing so often requires reducing desires for temporal things, perhaps even good ones. Throughout this audiobook, we move back and forth among beliefs, practices, and affections. Sometimes we focus on Amish beliefs, sometimes on their practices, and other times on their affections. Ultimately, we see this trio as 3 strands of one braid that secures the entire Amish way. In other words, the spirituality of Amish people is not something that stands on its own, apart from their daily lives.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?